Uh, what will be something funny to say? Nice question. I don't know. I don't have anything funny to say. So consider this a meta commentary on the fun of saying something funny at the beginning of a stream. Like, wow, this is getting even so meta that I don't even know if this is anymore a comment out the comment or a comment out the idea itself of commenting something funny. Anyways, I don't know. Anyways, also, I never realized what about the quality makes this stuff readable on screen. Like, ah, no, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. I can read it. I thought it was. Okay. It was impossible to read anything, but it seems not to be the case, at least so far. Anyways, um, here we are. That's the point. Here we are. Let's, I guess, as always, let's wait for a little bit because it feels, yeah, it is quite annoying to have the ads play in the middle of anything else. So, um, how much time is it? Like 10 minutes, I think. After some beautiful 10 minutes, we will properly begin. But it is basically a continuation of the last one. I wanted to continue that. I wanted to properly finish that to begin with. I forgot. I not that I forgot. In reality, I didn't think it was going to take me so much time to explain. I think probably I lost myself in some parts of the explanation or something of the sort. I shouldn't have. Yeah, I shouldn't have had that many problems when ordering the idea itself. Yet somehow it ended up coming that way. So coincidentally, I think so. But it gave us the chance to properly go over. I think so. Go over the other important things that I didn't mention, that I didn't have time to mention to begin with. Anyways, let me let me see. I wanna find the tiny drawing that I made. I didn't take a screenshot. Oh my god! I didn't save this. Did I save this? I I should have saved this image, right? I think I didn't save it. This is going to be incredibly funny if I didn't save it. That's the main reason as to why I need to save them. Because later on, we might use them again. I forgot. Don't tell me that I forgot. Uh, Here, let me see. Okay, okay. This is quality. I didn't forget. I have the screenshot here. I wanted to copy this basically. I I've I don't think I have that much more to say. Do I have anything else to say? Can we not really start watching that? Like, is there any real reason as to why I shouldn't be instead of simply having this right now? Having this other uh, what is it? Scene? I don't think so, but anyways, I guess I don't know. It feels like too much of a meta commentary, but perhaps it has to deal with the fact that you have some sort of entrance and some sort of um, point in which you say, let's say that things are starting, so you can differentiate that from the rest merely based on everything else that is around that same thing, let's say, and just because of that, you can you can justify the existence of everything else, I guess. in terms of wow, yeah, we need to have this tiny space in which nothing really gets said or whatever, but in which we're simply starting. I don't know, I guess it's kind of the structure of things around here, I will say, probably. Um, is it really? I don't think so. But anyways, is it really what a weird thing to ask? I feel, but that's not my problem. So I don't have to be concerned with that. Also, yeah, I think to a certain degree it's funny that I am not showing that I am doing something else because I certainly am not even close to the capacity of speaking that I have most of the time. That there isn't even something clear being talked about. It is just commentary after commentary about the same thing always, and people obviously has the capacity to notice something like that, but to not show what is happening, it's like what what are we trying to go for here? What was the point of that? What did he mean? Uh, I don't know. I guess I will finish at the very least the most basic parts of the drawing, and I will start to show it. I just want to make it minimally similar to the other one, even if it by nature is quite impossible to achieve. I think so. Anyways, also here we have a tiny time windows in which no matter what I say, it doesn't really have anything to do with the topic. Isn't it kind of weird how sometimes we decide to procrastinate so much? I think so. It has become quite an interesting observation lately. Like, what was the point of so much procrastination? I don't say it as in wow, I have a response. No, I don't. I wish I had one even, but I don't even understand why. I do believe I understand certain parts of the procrastination itself, but at the same time, sadly, it is quite complex, so it ends up becoming something quite impossible to follow, I guess. I, yeah, I guess it simply is something along those lines. It sadly has nothing particularly important that can be easily understood. It is it is more along the lines of a symptom of something that happens because so many other things might as well be out of place, let's say, and suddenly getting a proper analysis of that is by default quite complex, I think so. But it doesn't really mean that it is impossible or anything like that. It, yeah, I don't think it is anything particularly surprising. At the same time, it is just stuff about life, I guess. It's like, yeah, I don't know if it is the best example, but it is just like with other types of disorders. Let's say like that. Yeah, I I will prefer to simply say it like that. It is with it is similar to other types of disorder. Nothing really impactful, but at the same time quite an understandable thing that the behaviors themselves might as well not be directly the problems, but rather parts that can signal you to the proper problem, I guess. And it takes too much time to understand all of that. So yeah, that's basically also in in part to a certain degree why I simply wanted to mention that like wow, interesting observation because I am not going to talk about that. Not today. That is not my problem. Uh, today at the very least. So, anyways, too much waiting. I am getting bored. Let me let me start this. Thank you. Did I not stop the captions? What? Yeah, I didn't. Yeah. So here we are. We are continuing with this basically. I I am trying to mostly regain the visual scheme that I didn't finish, so I guess I will principally begin with that. I will, yeah, it will take some time, but I will begin with something that has already been explained, let's say, so that we don't have to worry about other stuff that much. I guess so. But yeah, I continue with this basically. I I don't know if I said when I started or not. I know that I am going to forget about this later on, or at the very least, the proper explanation that I had a thought about in in this present time or in this time window. So I really wanted to get that one out before I do forget. I think I will unavoidably forget. It's like part of life. You unavoidably forget about things that you care, even if you care about them. So something so abstract like an idea, even more will get forgotten. And just because of that, I wanted to say it. I wanted to finish that before I ran out of time. I guess I don't know. I think it is always interesting to in in regards to similar topics like this one to have the possibility at the very least of starting to analyze them after all. And that is kind of the worst part about this. Most people don't even try to do something like that. So to open up the discussion about said things in anybody's existence, let's say, is more than rewarding already. I don't think there is that much more to say in that sense. Other things might as well be in place and whatnot, but I don't know. I think I will say it like this. There are so many things that you could observe in life that you might as well believe or try at the very least, even if you can't believe, try to go towards something that helps you have a better existence, I guess, is the final point as always. And in this case, it is nothing different. Sadly, yeah, I I haven't really understood why we are so concerned about um, modifical. What the fuck is a modifical? Uh, nice words, language. Sorry, I had a completely brain melt moment. My bad. Um, anyways, I was trying to say before I realized I was committing an incredibly huge typo. I was trying to say I don't I don't know fully where or why, but we don't even like to talk about humanity that much in terms of a more complicated idea, let's say. And I don't like that. I don't find it interesting. I don't. I don't even understand the necessity of something of that sort. We certainly are a part of a world that at the very same time wants us to be active on it, so it feels quite annoying to not even consider all of those things in any degree, I guess. Not, wow, yeah, you needed to spend your whole life observing the universe and whatnot. It goes a little bit more on to the normal degree, to a bearable degree for everybody. Let's say it is simply about, yeah, you have your life. Have you even stopped to consider what is your life? What do you want out of that? I I like to hear. I like to talk with people, and out of nowhere hear that they don't have those notions. Like it supposedly is even something hard to come up with. Are you sure about that? Have you tried to think about what did you even desire to have in in your existence? So I don't understand why it has become such a problem, and at the same time we are not even willing to try and address that. Like, yeah, maybe we are lacking meaning, but no other ever think the idea of mentioning something like that to others. Because, oh my god, what an uproar there is about whoever states something of that sort. And it stops being funny at some point, I think so. It stops being funny because the problem itself doesn't disappear. Um, the problem of having or lacking rather something interesting doesn't disappear no matter how much you make fun of other people in that sense. So I don't even have a complete understanding about the necessity of saying things of that nature, I guess. But yeah, it is basically, I guess, in that order, something minimally similar to that, what I wanted to talk about in that sense. Um, and I don't know. I don't ever. I have been trying to understand, obviously, through a lot of reading, even more lately. And I don't think it is by itself a completely impossible idea to it. There are certainly others that are compared to these so much more worse, and compared to whatever struck to okay, there it is finally wanted to say sorry compared to more philosophical ideas it they are worse than these two to understand. And I don't know, I in that sense I can take pride in the fact that yeah, certainly this doesn't modify the whole world, but at the very least it is some kind of tool, I guess, for is it a tool? I don't know. It is something. It is something that exists out there. That, as always, let's say, if you wish to, you can use. If you don't want to, you can completely disregard, and that is also part of the fun about this. That no matter what I say, if you don't care, there is nothing I can really do to change that fact, and I am just thankful for the minimal degree of attention that somebody might give to that. Like, yeah, perhaps there might be something interesting. Perhaps. Perhaps not. So I don't really need to properly focus on why anything that is being proposed, in this case about what is oneself, um, cares about and whatnot. Also, I have made a recent video on philosophy. I am naive. Could you watch it and share what you think? I I hope you're doing well, hydration. Perhaps, yeah. Okay, let's say it like this. If you want to, I can do that tomorrow. I have, I want to finish this, and I know, and unless it is like 5 minutes long, um, I probably won't have the possibility of watching it today. I have less than an hour left to finish this whole explanation. I needed to begin with to even focus on starting to explain this and continue. So I don't think today will be the day, but if you leave the link, I will probably give it a watch. And tomorrow I might properly come back to it. 4 minutes. Yep. Okay. Probably. I can watch it today, probably. But I need to, as they will say in the society, I need to log in and finish this before, before, before that. We can. I won't lie. I am kind of messing around. I am kind of messing around. So if you want to, I can focus on this. We can finish this very fast. I think I have like only half an hour or so contained inside of that of what I needed to mention and whatnot. So we can watch it. And also, please, let me repeat. Will you provide the link? I link, please. Thank you. Also, good evening. I think it is, Sara. Society. What was that? A follow? Yeah, probably, perhaps. But I am writing. My bad. Can I check who? What? Yeah. Thank you, Hydration, for the follow. Let me open this. I want, at the very least, I want to see what the title is. I want to see that. Um, 4 minutes. It is almost five. It isn't so short. Um, Significance of you or it, and no description. What? Okay, yeah. Interesting. At the very least, interesting. Um, Significance of you. Okay. I think it will be interesting, certainly. But yeah, no. Don't worry. I don't mean it in any kind of bad way, certainly. But we will see. So far, I don't really have anything to say about it. Also, good evening, Ramnor. I hope you're doing well. Uh, let me see. Okay, I want to. We need to watch that. We have enough time. We can watch that. I simply need to finish this before. So let me see. Let me. What I am missing here? Okay. Why why did I insert this concept here? What? I need somebody who can tell to me why are you mentioning this right here? Why did you choose to talk about reality in the middle of an explanation about ideas? Incredibly hard. Uh, Anyways, Okay, do we have? Am I lacking anything else? Let me see. Life. Okay, no. So far with this. Okay. People, I am not even going to separate this in the later upload, so it is quite meaningless to say, "Wow, this is everything I have to say about that." No, this isn't a transition. Just nothing else to add so far. This is the whole visual representation of the whole concept that we tried to discuss the last time properly. Um, it is a continuation of that because I knew I had some stuff left to say. I don't even remember exactly where did I left out some concepts. I know at the very least not that I failed because we're continuing that. I needed to proceed a little bit more on the final explanations of how this comes to be, and even more how it can be in any kind of degree observed as something not so negative on the life of somebody, because explanation of the concept based on this whole diagram that we were observing last time. I think I can grab a screenshot. Let me see. Copy image. Can I paste it here? Will it be okay? Amazing. How much I love Krita. Give me a second. Can I move this? I can move this. Can I resize it? Can I make it bigger? How do I make it bigger? Let me see. We are okay. Okay, we are. This is it. I. It will be incredibly funny because also it's it's almost impossible to see based on the quality of the stream. Not my problem. Let me. Sorry. Here we were trying to talk about this. We were trying to discuss to a certain degree the title, quote unquote, about the nature of our efforts and the capacity to follow them in our life. It was so far only an observation as to how somebody might have their own desires, interests, and how also the outside seems to affect and to alter how an individual is capable of, to any degree, expressing what they want the most. Not because it is in any kind of way something negative, but rather because by being capable of observing how this process ends up happening in the life of anybody, it also becomes quite apparent how later on we start to observe to a certain degree the capacity to not be so troubled by the reality of I possess an interest about any kind of thing, which might as well be useful for me or be against what I truly wish to obtain and to, yeah, and to be capable of gaining in life. Based on that, simply on that whole idea, continuing with this, we finish with this diagram, with this explanation, let's say, of stuff, which didn't really change that many stuff, not because it wasn't new, but rather due to how it needs to continue. And I didn't have enough time. So finishing with the rest, we we left on the final note of there are different ways, four different ways, or four main different ways in which we can categorize somebody might see their different ideas transformed by, in this case, what we can categorize as the society, something that based simply on the fact that they possess the capacity to modify, might as well, consciously or not, order the human being who is capable of thinking by themselves any kind of idea into becoming something closer or farther away from what they truly wish to accomplish, let's say. In this case, we end up observing that there are four different stages, as I said before. We only have the obligations, those who minimally orient you in terms of the most standardized ways of depicting rules. Basically, the law in a more normal way of calling it. The different type of laws have the biggest kind of weight, but at the very same time are those who allow you to not be so negatively affected by the possible consequences of your actions, because the obligations are what shows a human being what might be a very, yeah, a very understandable, basically, because it simply is a correlation of, if somebody does something, there will be this type of consequence, a very evident type of causal correlation between action reaction that is bound to happen to most people. um, doesn't your reality also impact the perceived societal standards in your mind? To a certain degree, it does, but at the very same time, the societal standards, most of the time, I can't remember exactly who was it that said it, but the individual doesn't have the capacity of modifying the society, because the society isn't comprised of the individual. The individual is part of the society, because every society needs to have individuals, but more often than not, people are not capable of observing themselves to be such influential figures inside of different systems which hold them in, because they don't even realize that they might have a capacity even to begin to modify it. To a certain degree, I guess a proper response would be your reality and the different actions that you take inside of these societal standards, and this world basically in which you live might be impacted to a higher degree if you are capable of acting in accordance with something that might create consequences. If your existence doesn't really affect anybody, it will be impossible for you to, mm, yet, to observe consequences in that sense. But it doesn't mean in any degree that most people will see, because of their own life, changes in the whole world, let's say. And it doesn't really mean also that it is something bad, but it's a rather the, yeah, I guess, the reality in that sense. Most people are not even concerned with. I have realized there is something wrong, therefore I wish to change that. Or, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of a different question. Maybe you say that you have realized you haven't fully realized because you're not capable of properly following through what you wish to change. Maybe, maybe not. But that is kind of a different question. The main response is that you can impact and you can have a noticeable influence in your surroundings, but most people certainly don't. And sadly, that I think, yeah, we have already had enough evidences about it. Only thinking can't really change the world, sadly, also. Only, no matter how good your theory is, if nobody can even understand what you're talking about, there won't be any change. No matter how deep of a discovery you yourself had, you need to share it with the world. So it means nothing to live in constant contemplation, as they will call it, you know. Um, but yeah, so I think that could be called a proper response. I hope in any degree it answers what you ask. Um, but yeah, let me see. Now, continuing, we're done with obligations. We have societal rules. The problem is, societal rules seem to be similar to obligations, while at the same time being on a different level. The societal rules are those who we established before are observed in the societies themselves as implicit ideas and implicit ways of acting of the people, which might lead to different type of consequences that in this case limit you further, not because they might truly be damaging not because they might truly be something negative, but rather because the society itself has realized that these different rules might as well help them in some kind of way. And the problem, it isn't a problem. They needed to differentiate between societal rules and the different obligations is that in different cases, it can happen that a societal rule might as well exist without being necessary, while an obligation is there in order to avoid the worst type of consequences, let's say. A very good example is as an obligation, you have something along the lines of you shouldn't kill somebody. As a societal rule, you have a, a rule to follow that is you shouldn't insult somebody else. Both are obviously in the realm of rules, but one is quite obviously more impactful than other. And there are better examples than that, but I simply say it, trying to illustrate what it pertains to in that sense. Nothing really extraordinary or surprising. It simply is a minimal degree of that. Um, Also, that's why, to a certain degree, you can observe that societal rules possess the capacity of altering how you think already, because there are also different types of limits which most people believe are going to be terminating for them if they were to trespass those already existing boundaries made up by the rest of the world. To a certain degree, while we have our obligations, we can accept them very easily. In the realm of societal rules, there is a problem of friction itself between different human beings, and how, because of our chaotic nature, we might even be in conflict with these different rules established without such a clear objective that is not only why they affect you, but also why they might represent a detriment to your own capacity. This do, I am not saying in this case also that they are bad, but rather it is a simple observation of how, wow, you talk with somebody who you don't really like, you're going to experience bad things, let's say. Sadly, there is no way to modify that. It works in that way. If you don't like something, you're not going to have a positive reaction towards that. So, societal rules are not only negative in terms of limitations, but also in ways in which the person later on expresses themselves, let's say. That is a, a different type of problem that doesn't get contemplated enough in most cases, but which leads more often than not to worse consequences than the rest. I think so. But we are not focusing only on one. Continuing, or before that, let me drink some water. Thank you. Anyways, now for real, continuing. So we have two. We have only two more to explain. To explicit to explain. Sorry, ESL. To explain modifications of quality at the complete restructuration of ideas. The modifications of quality are quite more easily understandable. The modifications of quality are those who are made by your surroundings, by, let's say, your closer group of friends, those who, while still wishing to see, in this case, your idea be useful, be made up into reality, be conceived, they try to orient you towards better outcomes in terms of, I think a good example would be something along the lines of, if you want to open for yourself a shop, what your friends might tell you is, if you go to them, you explain to them that you have this idea, and you explain that you want to open the biggest shop ever out of nowhere, the explanation that they are going to give to you is something along the lines of your idea is great, but maybe even if you want to have the biggest shop in the world, what you should try to do before is see if you even enjoy the experience of having a shop. It means nothing to put yourself so much at risk if you don't even know what you are going to do is going to truly be enjoyable. That is a modification itself of quality because it isn't changing in itself the content of your idea. It will most of the time lead to the very same objective in a rather longer manner, let's say. It will take some more time to reach your desire, but it will still make you arrive there. And yeah, certainly, based on what I said before, most of these modifications of quality are not that impactful, are not that negative for anybody. Most people don't have to concern themselves with any of that. Most people. But here I think so is the fourth one and is where we finally finish the quote unquote quicker rundown of this idea. Because in the complete restructuration is where you finally observe yet another kind of negative tendency in the sense of what is necessary to call a problem at that point, and that is most people not only have the desire to see something happen because somebody else is capable of stating it, but also most of us wish for certain things which are pertaining more to the realm of our own ideas, if it isn't understood, our own ideas which we wish to see become reality and which we are willing to make happen if or even if it means that we are affecting somebody else's ideas. Let's say, if my dream were to be a good physician, based on the example of I have a friend who comes to me and says, I want to open the biggest shop ever, the complete restructuration of an idea ends up happening when there are modifications made to the idea themselves in order to also satisfy mine or to force you to a certain degree to achieve what I wish to. Be it because I have realized that I can't obtain what I wish to by myself, therefore I need your help, or be it because I have already started to quote unquote accept that I can't obtain what I wish for in my life, therefore I might at the very least leave you with some degree of understanding about why any given thing is so important for the whole humanity almost to obtain or to become real. In that sense, once again, based on the example of I, with aspirations of physician, have a friend who has the aspirations of having an incredibly good shop, I might start to change their perception of what a good shop means in order to obtain not only a shop but also a place in which I can exert myself as the best physician ever, or in which I can at the very least start to work towards obtaining that title, let's say, that validation mostly in that case. It is those type of modifications which only happen in in the outer in the outer levels of ideas in which we are, let's say, observing more abstract things and in which kind of paradoxically because it shouldn't happen that you let so many outsiders interfere with your ideas. The innermost kind of people which we have around us are those who are going to modify them and which are going to exert this type of complete restructurations and modifications basically of what you ever wished for. That is so far everything. That is everything that we had to say so far that there, up until here, I guess, there shouldn't be almost anything new. Almost anything new. There shouldn't be. But, problem, that isn't everything. By itself, that isn't everything. We still have, as I said before, we still have something to add. I need to make a straight line. Can I make a straight line? That is kind of a question that I don't know if I can answer. Um, can I make a straight line? No. Can I make a can I make a straight line? Uh, yeah. Okay, straight line. Anyways, so we have that. That is the visual representation up until here. In this case, I don't need to say that is it a diagram? I think diagrams are different. Anyways, um, let's say that this diagram is complete because it only shows how it might be affected. But what isn't being discussed is how the individual might perceive the outside things and realize if they are being used in their favor or not. How would you depict something like that? I guess. Uh, let's go yet again with another stick figure because I am not an artist. I don't need to worry about art in that sense. I like that the art is incredibly well. Meanwhile, we're trying to explain how society works. Wow. But the art is that of a child, like ah, amazing. Okay, yeah, I am kind of done with this. Yeah, I think I don't really need that much more. I think so. I let me see. No, yeah, mo- most of the other things are really outside. In this thing, I don't need to mention them. Okay, assuming that we understood what I tried to say before, assuming that I was capable of making a clear enough point, assuming that all of that is real, final part, final part of this explanation, what I wanted to say the most, what I needed to clarify, the person, while being part of the society to a certain degree, we can start to perceive, let's say, that the rest of the world isn't completely immersed with the self, even if there are more than enough theories which prove that the whole society orders the individual, it doesn't mean that the individual doesn't have a possibility of ordering by themselves what they wish to accomplish, as long as the society allows them to orient themselves towards those different ideas which, with the intention of bringing change or not, differ from what is observed as the norm. Just because of that, you can observe that there is a certain degree of freedom inside of what is the self and what is the capacity to go towards what one wishes to. Here, the problem exists in more often than not. Also, it happens that sadly, we do not properly mention how the qualities of the communication that might exist between both parties, in this case, the self and the other, or in more understandable terms, the individual and the society, um, when we forget that there might exist a different type of dialect and there is a possibility for all of this to lead to good consequences in terms of observing, understanding, and appreciating properly what are both goals, if we don't mention that, we're not properly talking about the idea itself of what it means to have our own goals and try to pitch them to the rest of the world, let's say. Because most of the time, it needs to happen that there needs to be a discussion about proper interests and proper aspirations of any kind. If the self isn't capable of, in this case, showing to the rest of the world why they are going for something, what will unavoidably happen is that the different degrees of modifications are going to be exerted upon the individual and will force the change of their ideas because what they're expressing to the reality isn't fully capable of showing what they truly want to, or even if what they are saying, let's say, in the worst case scenarios, even if what they are saying is fully understood, it is so disruptive that it needs to be modified in order for this individual to integrate with the rest of the society. And in that case, we can say that there exists a possibility of loss of the self, of observing how those who are trying to accomplish something so astoundingly different might as well get. It is a heavier word. It isn't the proper context, but for the sake of time, we can simply say the self gets censored. It isn't the best term in this case, but it kind of goes along those lines. And once again, that is in the worst case, because you also have two other different states of this in which you then end up with uh, the self on one side and with the rest of the society on the other. I like that both are S, so I can't even write S and S because it is still completely impossible to understand. Um, but basically, once again, there are different type of consequences. First one was you can integrate, you can remove yourself from the society in which you live in order to see if there are at the very least other societies which might hold your ideas and be capable of allowing your expression of a desire in said manner. The problem is also, at the very least in the present world, I don't think we have that much variance in societies. Most of the obligations have been properly ruled out quite a long time ago. So the most outlandish ideas are already condemned in almost every single place. So, anyways, that's a different matter. That's a different matter. You can go and search for a different society, which might finally, in this case, allow you to integrate to that one, or and it can rarely happen because in this case we have the visual representation should minimally be capable of expressing the self and the society exist in a correlation. They aren't fully integrated one with the rest. There exists the tiered option at the hardest one to observe in the world of the self and the society exist in correlation with one another completely, to the degree to which it can be said that the self and the society had become one because you were capable of expressing something to such a degree that the rest of the universe, let's say, of the universe of people around you has understood the necessity for say the change. And once this became such an important matter for everybody, not only are you allowed to pursue that, but also you find yourself encouraged by everyone else around you, and you are shown as many tools as you need to in order to accomplish this very same thing. Once again, it is quite impossible to observe this, at the very least in the modern world. I think, kind of coincidentally enough, in the past we had quite a lot. Um, yeah, the best example always will be for things of this kind. Somebody like Gandhi, for example, he certainly became somebody integrated with the society while obviously retaining his degree of self. It doesn't mean that one loses their own identity. It is more along the lines of your idea is so important that the whole society is capable of saying this needs to happen. Therefore, we need to help this individual accomplish what they are saying that they wish to accomplish. It is along those lines that this goes, not in a different direction. But yeah, those are the three different kinds, and those are, once again, it, it, it is kind of like here. There are four important types of ordering levels in terms of how an idea might get changed. The very same thing in how three degrees of integrations, or well, in this case, you're on, obviously you're not integrating. Um, how the self and the society might interact with one another. Three more important ones that I think so. So yeah, that's now for real. I think I properly mentioned everything that I wanted because I don't know, to a certain degree, I know I haven't fully gone about all of these things that the outside world talks about, but the problem is if you don't have even the capacity to recognize that all of this is happening even in your own life, the only tool capable of solving that for you is the capacity to observe yourself, not as yourself, but rather as, once again, just somebody who is part of the society, and how, to a certain degree, you're being affected by what gets said out there. There isn't any other way in which this can be solved. No matter how many times I try to mention this, if an individual isn't capable of identifying themselves inside of this, it still means nothing. So, yeah, I don't think I can, at the least so far, share anything else in regards to this. I think so. I I hope so. Because if I am forgetting something, I will feel bad. Um, but yeah, that's everything so far. Thank you. Now, this is kind of a scamming of me, but hydration, are you there? I I I certainly wouldn't like to be called out like that personally, but oh my god, hydration, I love you. Okay, okay, okay. Nothing else to say here. Let me transition to here. We are going to watch this. We're going to watch this thing. Let me set it up. Do I have it? Link here. Let me let me stop this. Let me close this. I have incredibly huge degrees of stuff open that I shouldn't. Not because they are bad, but rather because they lag my whole PC. That's the problem. Let me see. So here we have it. Let me. Kindly what? kindly don't be hard at all. I am young and that's my first video. Yeah, I mean, okay, I will approach it as if I were approaching any other video. Let's say like that. I will approach it as if I were approaching any other video. I think, yeah, to a certain degree, I would at the very least personally enjoy that more than anything else. I mean, it is quite. Yeah, I don't think it will be good to be lenient just because you are new in that sense. And I don't think there will be anything controversial stated, so I don't. We shouldn't have to worry about hearing anything, but we will see. If you, I, it will be incredibly funny. It will be incredibly funny to hear out of nowhere um, something incredibly bad like, yeah, we should kill people. No, please, please. I hope there isn't anything like that. And also, wait, uh, 5,000 points? Harry, in which moment did you gain 5,000 points? This is this is the lurker course, I guess. I didn't even expect that. Harry, I hope you're having an incredibly nice day, and I hope you have gained 5,000 points. I didn't even expect that. That certainly has been surprising. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you can keep doing well. I hope 5,000. Incredible. Amazing. Eh, sorry. I hope anything said here can be useful. Certainly. That's my only hope always. And certainly thank you for having been there for so long. Thank you, Harry. There you go. Anyways, now, video. We have a short time, so we can't spend so much time. Sorry. Video. I knew it, Harry. You didn't talk ever. I knew it, Harry. I was in. I knew it. I knew it. Anyways, we have something to watch. Focus. I didn't activate the sound. I didn't activate the sound. But I realized because I am clever. No, sorry, my bad. For real. Now for real. Now with sound.
In life, you must have experienced at least one major public event which involved mass participation by general people. Large-scale protests, government elections, paying your taxes before the date can be very explicit examples of it. Have you ever contemplated your own significance in any of them? Let's stray away a little bit. Let's think about all the thinkable possible ways by which you can pass out in the next minute. Cardiac arrest, earthquakes, slipping down from the stairs, being run over by a car. How about some other obtuse ones like hostile alien invasion, World War III, gamma ray bursts hitting Earth, or some new fatal virus? This list goes on and on. Your anxiety is only going to pile more and more as you think of more ways. However, do you know that your chances of dying from a new undiscovered fatal virus are less than 0.0001%, and by that of an alien invasion are less than 0.000001%?
Okay. I think a proper way to say it so far would be, even if it is short, so far it might have not that much a clear point. I think so. I don't know if somebody else said something different. I feel like that so far. I can see where it might go to. or what it might propose. I hope I am right in that sense, but so far, certainly it is an understandable concept that so many times we are affected by so many possibly negative outcomes that we are never fully aware of how bad we could have it. In that sense, it is a very well known idea, nothing astounding, let's say. Most people sadly, I guess, most people sadly don't contemplate death in that sense and don't observe the possibility of experiencing something bad happening like that. But it doesn't mean that it is always there. That's I don't remember exactly the phrasing, but it is always good to remember. eh, yeah, basically, memento mori. It is always good to remember that you can experience death out of nowhere. In that sense, so far, certainly interesting. Eh, I think truly, memento mori is important, but what is the point? Let me see.
The question becomes, if should you worry about them or not? Are they significant or not? Should we prepare for a new fatal virus or not? Should we take care of our health to prevent cardiac arrests or not? The question boils down to their significance. Wait, but there is a catch here. Are you trying to find the significance of you getting infected by a fatal virus? Or are you trying to find the significance of you dying to it? Turns out, it's not the virus or the alien invasion or even the World War III which you are calculating the significance of, but instead of you dying to all of them. See, when it comes down to the voting system, people think about if their singular vote has a significance in it. But in reality, it's about the significance of your vote, in case your candidate wins by one singular vote. It's not about your vote, but about the condition if the electoral competition comes down to being won by the difference of a single vote. Hence, it's not your significance, but the significance of your candidate winning. You can be a great scientist and be insignificant if you never make a groundbreaking breakthrough. Because it's not you who matters, but what you discover. You can be really, really pretty if you are a woman, but be insignificant if the world has no men in it. Hence, you being pretty won't be significant if there are no men to be with.
uh, Certainly, hard points there. Uh, I don't know how to say it without sounding so bad, but certainly something along those lines might not be the best approach in that sense. Uh, I understand. I think I understand the point to a certain degree, but at the very same time, it has some problems conveying the idea itself. Because if I am not wrong so far, we are discussing inside of this. The concept is how you yourself have the possibility of observing what happens around you and realizing the importance of what you are inside of that. And most of the times, also, what tries to be mentioned here is sadly how we play games with our own perception to justify that we might not be really thinking about ourselves when in reality we are quite on the contrary only focused on what pertains to us, and we're only focused on what is related to us. We don't care that much about the election of a politician because I guess that's kind of the example. We don't care about the election of a politician, and if it is that our vote matters or not, because we really believe that it might be in or about what changes that, but rather we are concerned about it because it seems to be that things are really that bad for the situation to end up in that final point. Do we really have to believe that everything is ordered so much around what is only ourself? In that sense, I think I get it. But at the same time, it, I would say probably it has some, yeah, some degree of problems getting the idea correctly explained, I guess. And
Think about the
anyways,
converse of it. Say, you are a very average looking woman, but the world is full of men and women of different preferences. Wouldn't you be fine? So, you being pretty was never significant. So, why care if you are pretty or not, if the world matters more? Why care if you voted or not, if the nature of the electoral competition matters more? Why worry about if you are a good scientist or not, if your discoveries matters more? The thing is, you are not as important as you think. Please notice the as you think here. I don't want to claim that you are insignificant, but only that you are insignificant to some extent and not as very important as you think of yourself. Hence, there is no need to worry, be anxious, or be sad about yourself. Because it's not about the significance of you, but the significance of it, whatever happens.
that's okay. That's it. That's it. Yeah, I get the point. Okay. Yeah, I need the final minute. I guess that's what was missing. But yeah, I now get it. I think it is quite a good in that sense. Or I don't know if it is quite good by itself, or rather good for those who have properly developed themselves in the idea of being humble and whatnot. It is simply yet another way to express that necessity to not, what is it, self aggrandize yourself, something like that. Do not see yourself as somebody so influential or whatever. I get that now. And yes, certainly it is, in that sense, a well made. Well, yeah. Perhaps it takes too long to arrive to the point, but yeah, it is understandable. Most people sadly don't even have the capacity to contemplate how much they over worry about their own nature as if they really had that much of an importance in the world. But at the same time, though, what I would, in this case, counter argue is sadly it forgets to talk about the capacity to make things better because you yourself don't matter that much. Therefore, it doesn't mean that you can't accomplish good things. It means that if you do bad, there is so little to lose, or even nothing at all to lose, that you have the capacity to do even better than most of those who have incredibly huge degrees of risk behind them. Mm, That is something that I believe is missing at least on this one. But yeah, the point is concise, I guess, or at the least I got it. Yeah, I will say perhaps I don't know, 7 out of 10 being the accent is kind of hard to get, but I don't mean it as an insult. I obviously have an incredibly noticeable accent myself. It's just something along the lines of, yeah, wow, it will probably affect you, but it is still quite, in that sense, good. Also, music is good. So, yeah. No, yeah, I don't think I have that much more to add. I at least to the point of the video, everything is understandable up to there. Sadly, yeah, sadly, most people can't even realize how much they overwork in that sense. So yeah, it is always refreshing to hear stuff of that sort. Yeah, I don't know. Good work. I would even call it good work in that sense. Good work, and yeah, very nice. And we are also just in time. We are just in time for us to leave. So, what what about reading someone? No, 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 no. Thank you for sharing. Also, I never deactivated the clock. I hope it didn't annoy that much because I didn't notice it. Sorry. Um, but yeah, nice video. Uh, so yeah, I don't know. I am mentally fried. I finished with the explanation of the other thing. Kind of. The problem is, as I said before, sadly you can't really even explain something like that fully because in trying to do so, you start to affect the perceptions of the individual more than what is necessary in that sense. So I can't add anything else uh, without making it a lesser message, I guess. But yeah, um, that's everything about the other explanation and about the video. I don't think it needs that much explanation by itself. Yeah, also understandable. So yeah, we are we don't. I guess I don't have more to add. So raid, please. Can we raid somebody? Is that a possibility? Perhaps. I don't know if this guy has raids enabled. I think he did. I think so far, based on what I remember. But yeah. And yeah, anyways, as always, thanks for being here. It has been quite a nice day. Um, I knew it. I knew he had raids disabled. I I hate this guy. Anyways, we're going to raid person then, if no one else is available. Anyways, so sorry. What I wanted to say before, as always, is thanks for being here, thanks for watching, thanks for lurking. It has been yet another sadly short but good time, and yeah, we will see what happens next. I was going to read Tema Hauharat. I shouldn't have continued with this idea, but I ended up doing that. So I don't know. Stuff happens, I guess. Stuff really happens like that. Perhaps next time I will properly read something. Perhaps next time I will literally fail again to accomplish what I said I was going to do. We will see. Until next time, whatever it is that we do, take care, be happy, be be aware of that certainly, and yeah, life, be happy. Try to be happy, and nothing else is really that important. Be happy. Anything else doesn't matter. Goodbye. Have a nice one. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. And as always, even if we don't get to meet each other again, it has been my utmost pleasure. Have a nice one. And yeah, goodbye. We're riding person. I don't even know what he's playing. ah, yeah.